Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Relationship Stories. Today, one stranger is asking us, am I the idiot for forcing my girlfriend to have baby with me? Before give our judgment, let's hear the story from his side. A little background, I am 28 with no kids. My girlfriend is 26 and has an 8-year-old son from her previous relationship. She was with the guy since they were kids. But when she got pregnant, he dropped the ball. She had it pretty hard during the early years, and it was a huge struggle for her to balance work, school, and her son. She made it work and is now in a law school. The kid's dad made a change about 3 years back when his father died and has since been helping. We have been together for a year and 2 months, and I really do love her. However, when we first got together, she did mention that she doesn't see herself having other kids because it was incredibly hard. She values her time alone when her kid is away, and she wants to travel with her son, being that he is bigger now. Also, that she has a school age kid and does not want to start over with an infant again. We were too early for me to complain about it or try to change her mind. It was not brought up again for some time. Fast forward to last night, we were watching something and I mentioned that my coworker has left work to have her fourth kid. She said that she could not imagine having that many kids. I got a little offended, being that my parents had 5. She told me that's what worked for my parents, but it would not work for her. I asked why, and she listed the reasons above, and that 4 kids is just excessive. I tried to reason it down to 3 or even 2. She said she doesn't want any children but her son. The way I see it, the only reason it was so hard was because of her age when she first had him. My logic is that any future children we produce will be secure and she won't be alone or have to struggle. For background, I have 4 siblings while she was one sister who lives in another state. She does not understand how important siblings are. I told her if she is unwilling to have even one child for me in the future, then we are done. She agreed and said, we are done then, and I am incredibly hurt. This is a hill she is willing to die on. She is super smart but so hard-headed. No matter what I said all night, she would not hear it or budge her views at all. I am hurt because I made the empty threat and she very easily went through with it. I am not feeling valued at all. I love this woman, and the thought of us having an expiration date kills me. I want to marry her and have kids with her, and she is just uninterested. She also said I was being an idiot and not taking her experiences into account, when I totally am. I acknowledge how hard it was for her, which is why I think she would have a totally different experience if she tried again. She is not 18 anymore and will have me by her side. I want her back but don't know what to say. She seemed very certain when she agreed to the breakup. Please tell me, am I the idiot for saying this to my girlfriend? My opinion about this issue is, OP, to be honest, you can't force her to have kids. If you really don't want to have kids, then re-evaluate your relationship with her, because it won't work in your long term, and you were the idiot for knowing she didn't want more kids and assuming she would just change her mind. If you had not been aware, this would be a no idiot situation, but the fact that it seems like you thought you would be able to pressure her into is a bad look, dude. There's also the fact you seem to be assuming that the reason her pregnancy was bad or rough was because of her age rather than asking her if she had health issues. It was really hard on her. Being pregnant is not easy, and it's super possible she was in a lot of pain and discomfort the first time around that she is not interested in going through again. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, I was gonna go with no idiots here because having different ones for your future is a mature adult reason to break things off. She is not an idiot for not wanting more kids. You would not be an idiot to break it off because she didn't and you did. But you went and had to be an idiot about you were trying to paint her as a hitty person. for not wanting more kids. If she doesn't want more kids, she doesn't want more kids. It's her choice. She can't be wrong about it. She was probably a nonchalant about being done because you were being an idiot about it, and she is a mature adult and realized that you should not continue your relationship with someone who is clearly a different page than you with regard to kids. Our friend too said, "You are the idiot here, not for your wanting to break up, because it's totally valid to not want to be with someone if your goals for the future don't match. You want a big family. She's done and doesn't want any more kids. That's fair for both of you. But she told you when you first got together that she was not interested in having any more kids. You went in with that information, trying to hold the relationship over her head and get her to budge or your benefit. When you knew from the start that it is going to be like this, a click move. You were shocked that she agreed to break up, possibly because you thought it might change her mind, right? Wrong. Sure, having a new kid would be easier with your support, but she doesn't want one. End of story. Stay broken up if you really want more kids. She is happy with the one, and that's fine. Story 2. A bit of backstory. I met my wife in the summer of 2008. She was working as the ice cream girl at a local restaurant. I had gone to pick up some boxes because I was moving. Out walked my Sarah. It was so close to the end of her shift. And working in this particular restaurant was a dirty job, to say the least. Seriously, I don't care what Didi says, that place is gross. She was covered in sweat from cleaning the machines, caked in all the dirt from the nasty little kitchen, had a grease stain on her cheek, and she was freaking beautiful. Her smile, her easy love, her obvious intelligence. I'm pretty sure I fell in love right then, and that wonderful May night. I wasted no time in asking her out, and we hit it off immediately. It started after our first date. She had mentioned she loves lilacs. Me, being a 23-year-old guy at the time, didn't know jack or hit about flowers, but the way she talked about how much she loved them, I knew I didn't want to forget that tidbit of information. So I wrote it down in one of those mini spiral notebooks. This was the Almanac's Genesis. Over the years, I have written down the information about my wife, her favorite color, her favorite restaurants, her favorite books, movies she wants to see, etc. Basically, all the little things I knew I would forget. Anything that struck me was worthy of remembering. When she told me, I would go through it every once in a year, so I could do something sweet for her. Fast forward to yesterday morning, I get a call from her around 11 a.m. What the freak? Is the almanac? The almanac is written on the cover. It's just a silly name that occurred to me a few years ago. She obviously has it. And I don't lie to my wife, so I tell her. She gets really quiet for maybe a half a minute and then says, I always thought you remembered this stuff. Tells me she has to run and hangs up. I got home from work last night and she's really dejected. I asked her what's wrong, and she says the almanac has cheapened every sweet thing I have ever done for her. She called it my playbook and said she felt betrayed. Mind you, I never showed it to a single soul, nor have I even told anyone about it. Until yesterday, I was the only person in the world to know of its existence. She also said she has not decided if I can have it back or not, and that she is thinking about destroying it. I am a kind of heartbroken. I feel like this should be an example of how much I love her. I am terrified she is going to burn it. I want to remember all these details that make my wife who she is. That's why I write them down. I don't chronicle these things for brownie points or status. I do it because I love my wife. I hear so many wives glitch that their husbands don't remember hate. And I don't want to be that guy. So yeah, I took notes and now I'm getting the silent treatment, or at best single word answers. Am I the idiot here? My opinion about this issue is not an idiot. Your wife should understand that you do these things out of love. She perceived this notebook to be information that is useless to you, and you need to write it down in case you need it. Explain to her that this is not about brownie points, but instead is about making the gifts you give her more personalized. She should understand that the one's brain is big enough to remember every detail about someone. She should just be grateful that you take the time out of your day to make sure you have everything stored. It should not make a difference whether this information is stored as long as it used positively. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, "Not an idiot, and I don't think your wife is either. I think she is just in a shock that part of the story that she created in her head is wrong. My husband did this cause it would also serve as a memories book. You remember when she mentioned she loved lilacs and the fields that followed. What's so about that? Maybe to show that it's not just for a brownie points, keep doing these little things she loves while it's confiscated. It will be at least to show you are not dependent on the book. But also tell her exactly what you said here, that it's because you never want to forget even one little thing about her. Romantic as F, and you're not even making it up." Our friend too said, "Not an idiot. The fact is, you wrote down those details because you knew they were important to her and you didn't want to forget it. It was not to cheapen anything, it was you putting in the effort to remember. Even if you write those things down, it doesn't compel you to actually take action on it. I understand how your wife might see it, especially because it's titled Almanac. But I had explained to her that it's because you want to do things for her that you put in the effort to write those things down." Story 3. Background: my great grandfather was a colonel in the Marines during World War II and Korea and beyond. When he was enlisted in World War II, he received the Medal of Honor during the Battle of Iwo Jima. My younger second cousin, now 12, loves military stuff. When he was younger, I allowed him to play with my grandpa's flight helmet and he destroyed it. Part of it was my fault, but also certainly my cousin's as well because she didn't abide by my terms when I agreed to let him borrow it. Yearly last year, my second cousin started asking for all of grandpa's uniforms and medals. I initially sort of deflected, but he got more and more demanding and I was so annoyed. I decided I just didn't want to deal with it anymore and I donated everything to my grandpa's hometown's Hall of Honor. They were thrilled with the donation and are in the process of creating a permanent display featuring the Medal of Honor, his uniforms and flight suits. I figure it's a much better use than all the stuff being in my closet. The display will have a looping video of my grandpa getting the medal from President Truman, his retirement ceremony, as well as some family films we had of him. I have seen the design and it's very belifting everything he did in this life. The first edit. Lots of people commenting, "I did it out of spite." I don't think I did. What the situation did was spur me into action. Sorry for not making that clear. I had been thinking for years over what I was going to do with that stuff and this scenario sort of forced me to make a decision. I honestly don't know. Am I the idiot here? My opinion about this issue is, not an idiot. There's zero reason to give your cousin anything and his parents should have shut his mouth down immediately. Kids need to learn that not everything they want is owed to them, especially in situations like this when family heirlooms are involved. I don't think what you did was spiteful at all. You want to ensure that everything was preserved and that your great grandfather was honored. Your family can get over themselves.